I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
We have such sights to show you.
Yeah, well, you know, that's just like your opinion, man.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Check out the big brain on Brad.
I guess I was probably returning videotapes.
I am big. It's the picture that got small.
Who cares?
Hello, everyone, and welcome. You are about to go on a journey. A long journey. A journey to the stars. A journey of 140 million miles.
Wow.
A journey to Mars.
Really?
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the latest episode of the Movie Roulette Tuesday podcast. This is Carl.
Oh my God, this is Rachel.
This is Matt.
I'm never going to do that again, by the way.
I was so excited. Did you see my face?
I saw your face. I'm so proud.
It's the
I
journey
was so
to the center
of McGurk. Oh my God.
The Earth.
The Earth. That was great. Did you make that up?
I did.
You did that yourself?
I totally did it.
Why did you decide we were going to go to Mars?
Because get your ass to Mars.
Get your ass to Mars.
Oh, right. Okay.
So I'm closing out our theme of the long journey.
To Mars.
And I wanted the longest journey. Although, I mean, your journey was pretty good, Rachel.
Hey,
you went
I went
multidimensional.
across the eighth dimension. How much longer do you want it to be?
But he also just went through a mountain, so
That's
I don't
true.
know.
It was
it's
right
tough
there.
to measure
The eighth journey is just right there.
the length of Buckaroo Banzai's journey.
Right. You're right.
This journey is measurable.
Yeah.
It's on average 140 million miles, depending on each planet's relative position
Right.
to each other.
To each other.
And I had the additional shakeup that my movie had to feature a conspiracy.
Yeah.
I had a final two potentials. I had a short list, a very short list. The one that did not make the cut was The Fugitive.
Which I love. I think that's a great movie. I would have enjoyed
Which
that
I don't
too.
know that I've ever seen.
What?
You've
Really?
never seen The Fugitive?
No.
I didn't kill my wife.
Not at all? Really?
No,
Really?
I know that part. And when he jumps out of the...
Yeah,
the
but that's because that's
thing.
in the trailer. But it's a very good movie.
But it really came down to, what am I in the mood to watch?
I understand.
And the winner of that decision is 1990's classic Total Recall,
It's a good one.
which does feature a conspiracy, which we'll talk about in our synopsis. Though, I mean, we've all seen Total Recall. When was the last time you guys have seen Total Recall?
I mean, it's been a little while, but I've seen this movie so many times.
Have you seen it so many times?
Growing up, yeah.
Oh, because I
Absolutely,
think I've
have.
only seen it like once or twice.
Oh, no, I've seen this like 6-7 times.
No, I no.
Yeah. Sharon Stone.
Is this like the three boobs?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I've only
Definitely.
seen it once or twice.
Yeah.
Not the seashells, though. That's the Fifth Element, right?
No, the Seashells is Demolition
That's
Man.
Demolition Man.
I was going to say Judge Dredd, but...
No, other Stallone 90s movie.
I don't know. All right. No, but I've seen it, but not often.
Okay.
Like, there's a lot I don't remember at all.
All right, cool. So this is from 1990, directed by Paul Verhoeven, who also directed RoboCop, Starship Troopers, Hollow Man, Basic Instinct.
Okay.
So he was very
prolific
in the 90s.
Yeah.
Starring Arnold Schwarzenegger,
I'll be back.
Falling Down's own Rachel Tickerton.
Oh, she's the cop. She was the cop.
She was the cop.
Yeah.
Yep. Sharon Stone, Michael Ironside.
Oh, I always enjoy him.
Now, written by, so this is based on a short story by science fiction author Philip K. Dick. The original short story, We Can Remember It For You Wholesale, which I have read.
Yeah.
I never read it.
Yeah.
And so as part of this preparation for this week, I said, you know what, I'm going to read it.
Okay.
Because I like, I've seen this a lot too, and so I wanted to do something I've never read the
See
story
where
it's
the
based on.
inspiration is from. Yeah.
Let's dive deeper into this. So I'll talk about it in a
I
minute.
always enjoy that when a movie is based on a book or a short story, like when we watched The Killers, right? And you read the short story. I like to do that as well. Like if I watch a movie and it's based on a book or a short story, it's like, well, I want I want to see what the origins of this were.
I get nervous when it's based on a short story, though, because when it's based on a novel, there's a lot of meat there on the bone. Whereas, like the story this is based on is like 22 pages long. So it's like, what do they add to this? What do they pad it with? Did it make sense?
It's not always that, though, right? Sometimes it's the kernel of an idea that needs to grow in a different format, or they're able to, I don't know, grow and extend the story in different ways. And I know what you mean, like distilling a short story. A short story is distilled is in its purest form. You have
Is the movie going to ramble on about it or add things that are
focus
unnecessary?
on things that you don't find relevant, right?
But on the other hand, sometimes when the movie is based on a novel, you lose so much.
You do, yeah.
And so where's the balance? Which one's better?
Lord of the Rings. I mean, that's the example
That's the
I always
only
put
one
out.
that works.
Where, the book
It
and
works.
the film.
Yeah, but you can look at that two ways with Lord of the Rings. I think the original Lord of the Rings trilogy is an example of an excellent adaptation of the source material.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But then The Hobbit,
Oh no,
where they took one book
Too much.
and stretched it across 3 movies,
Too
that's
much.
too far the other
I
way.
agree.
Yeah.
No, that's why I didn't say The Hobbit. It was, the Lord of the Rings. And
But
same
that
thing
is
with
true.
something like Jaws, where if you've ever read the book, the book's fine, but there's a lot in there that is
The
unnecessary.
mafia's in there.
Now,
It's interesting.
it's not that
though.
it's bad,
No,
and it
it's
is
not.
interesting, but the movie is,
The distillation.
that's the story everyone knows, and when you read the book, that stuff seems extraneous, like it's unnecessary.
Peter Benchley?
I don't remember.
Who wrote that? Am I making that up?
Peter Benchley's an author. Yeah, it is Peter
It
Benchley.
is.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
At least the first Jaws, yeah.
So I did read the short story, and I'll talk about it because I did enjoy it. And I've never read any Philip K. Dick, and his stuff has been the basis for some classics. I mean,
Yeah.
Blade Runner, Minority Report, like he's
He's
Right,
written
Dream
some
of
good
Electric Sheep.
a big deal.
sci-fi electric.
And I had
sheep.
never read any of his stuff, so it's like, cool, this will be an opportunity to dip my toe in that water.
Absolutely.
Now, one of the co-writers of this adaptation is a guy by the name of Dan O'Bannon. He also wrote Alien,
Oh.
and he directed Return of the Living Dead,
He wrote the screenplay for Alien? Mm-hmm. Okay.
directed Return of the Living Dead, and he also wrote a few of the segments from that animated heavy metal movie, among other things. As far as the description of this movie, for those of you who have never seen it, the year is 2084 AD. On Earth, Doug Quaid is being haunted by recurring dreams of another life and a mysterious woman on the Red Planet. Without warning, Quaid's world suddenly begins to crumble around him, a world in which everything he knows may be a fabrication. Now he must travel to Mars to confront the mystery.
Okay.
What do you think of Schwarzenegger in this film?
Oh, I wanted to talk about Schwarzenegger.
Okay, all right.
So, good segue, Matt. So, this, I feel like, came at a time of, like, prime Schwarzenegger in the movies. Like,
Oh, yeah.
once you get into, like, starting with, Conan and Terminator, and then
Twins.
once we get into, like...
That's much later.
Just think of that.
Well,
Ridiculous.
but
No,
you
that
got
was
Total
like 89.
Recall, you got
Yeah.
Twins, you got Jingle All the Way,
Kindergarten Cop.
Kindergarten Cop,
Commando,
Yeah.
Predator.
Predator.
Like, this is prime Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, it totally is.
True Lies.
True
True
Lies.
Lies.
What do we think of Schwarzenegger?
I find him to be delightful. He's not a very good actor.
He's a terrible
He's
actor.
not, but he's fun.
He has no emotional range
No.
whatsoever.
Well, I guess that's why I wanted to ask you that earlier, because I feel like this is... I don't know where in his filmography this lies. Like, what year did this come out?
1990.
Okay. So he had some feature films
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, big ones.
prior to this.
Yeah, he was
He
big.
was well, recognized and everything. So he was a big name. But I feel like this film gets some range out of him a little bit, where he's not just an action hero or some barbarian or whatever. He has a little bit of range, but he's still not a great actor, and
No.
you can still see the limits of his abilities in a film like this.
Well, and it was always a thing between him and Stallone in terms of action stars, but Stallone could act. I mean, you watch those Rocky movies, like, he's really good.
He is a better actor than Schwarzenegger.
Not to mention that he wrote those movies.
100%.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
And he,
Like, he had way more range with that stuff than I feel Schwarzenegger had. Like, Schwarzenegger, like, was jacked.
Yeah.
He was a bodybuilder,
Yeah.
and he was a personality, and it just fit. You know, he could pull off the action movie hero.
Like, he's kind of like the Jason Statham of the, where it's like
Okay.
he basically plays the same character in every movie he's in, just with a different name.
Well,
Yeah, action films. And then he branched out. He tried to do some comedy, and it kind of worked because.
Well, because he is such a
he's
character, and he's
silly,
got the
yeah.
accent, and it's just
Right.
ridiculous.
like
Exactly.
Kindergarten Cop.
Right. It's
I love
not a
Kindergarten
tumor.
Cop. It's not a tumor.
But it's just funny because he's the one saying those things, not that what he's saying is funny. You know?
Well, and I also, and we do have the privilege of having a female on the crew
On the
here.
board, yeah.
Him as a romantic lead, he doesn't seem like he's an overly attractive
No,
guy.
not to me.
Right.
No. Like, he seems nice.
He seems, of course.
Seems nice.
Seems
like
nice.
a nice guy. And he's muscle bound. You know, he's like a giant man.
I think that women that go for that would
Yeah.
find him
Yes.
Attractive.
desirable.
Yeah.
You know?
But he's not.
Just like
That's-
Sharon Stone playing, opposite him is a desirable female character, but there's more to her.
There are reasons why she's there.
Sharon Stone's an actress, though. She is an actress. And I think Sharon Stone does a really good job at acting.
Well said. Yeah.
I do. I think she's a good actress. Like, I know she gets, Basic Instinct, and everyone saw her vagina, and hooray, haha.
Yeah, but she did.
But
That was
she's
her choice.
That's right. But she's a good actress. Like, she's in.
No, I mean,
she
really
made
that call. That wasn't in the
Yeah,
script.
no, I
Like,
know.
she did that.
She was in Unforgiven. I thought she was great in that.
She is a good actress.
Yeah, she is.
And she's versatile and
Yeah.
can play a lot of different
Yeah,
roles.
she can
and
kind of blend into whatever role she's playing.
come across, and she's attractive, and she looks
Yes.
like kind of dangerous.
Kind of dangerous.
She plays a
Yeah.
good femme fatale.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah, I don't know that I would call her a femme fatale. More like a woman that you'd bring home, and then you'd want her to leave because you're afraid that she'd stab you while you were
That's
asleep.
Basic Instinct.
Well, I know,
That's
but
why.
she seems like that character.
Okay. All right.
Or
Okay.
she's able to pull that
And
off.
then you'd want her to leave.
Yeah, it's like, that was great. Now please leave because I'm afraid for my
I'm
life.
gonna lock the door.
Do we have a favorite Schwarzenegger movie, if you had to pick one?
I don't know. I mean, Predator is one that is, a nostalgic thing for me. So is Commando.
Yeah.
I think Commando was the first Schwarzenegger film I ever saw. When
So
I was,
many one-liners in that movie.
when I was
Wow.
little. And then Predator I saw shortly after it came out.
I like Conan the Barbarian. I like that movie.
I saw that much later. That movie's so ridiculous.
It's
but,
super ridiculous, but it's so great.
and it's funny that he could start in a role like that and then be who he was, coming from the background that he has, and then grow into a well-established actor.
A star.
Not to mention governor of like.
Well, we do that around here. We elect movie stars.
Yeah,
We do.
we do.
That's the American way. But
But I don't know.
I like Conan
He's-
the
yeah.
Barbarian.
Yeah. How about you, Carl?
Predator's definitely up there. I've always really liked that movie. Oddly enough, when I was a kid, The Running Man.
The Running
I
Man.
like that? Really?
Because it was like a comic book. Like the what were the Stalkers or whatever, like
Yeah.
they were like comic, there was an ice skating one and an opera singing one. So
yeah.
But
it was like
Schwarzenegger.
it was a
in
movie
that.
full of boss fights, basically,
Yeah.
I mean, he's not the best in it, but as far as my favorite Schwarzenegger movie,
I mean, that to
Yeah.
me sounds like a film that you enjoy that happens to have him in it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like the things that you like aren't related directly to him.
sure.
So, but if you had to pick one, that
I mean, if I wanted to pick a Schwarzenegger perform, I think True Lies is probably one of his best acted.
See, I agree. I agree 100% with that.
Well, he had a lot of experience by then. Because True Lies.
Well, you got James Cameron directing it. Like, he's not going to let you get off the hook. He's going to want a lot out of you.
Yeah.
But I think that film shows.
I think he was his most charming in that movie.
The range that he actually has. Like that. Those are his limits right there. That's the best he could do, which isn't a bad thing.
No.
But yeah, True Lies I really enjoyed, but I don't have the affinity for it because of there's no nostalgia for me with that movie. It's just it stands well on its own.
Yeah.
But
wasn't there a movie where he played a Russian?
What?
Red.
No.
I'm pretty sure. I don't know.
Red Dawn.
Hunt for Red
Not
October.
Red Dawn. Not Hunt for.
He's doing a crazy Ivan. I like that movie.
There probably was. He was in a lot of movies.
He was.
And yeah, there was that whole
Raw Deal.
Well,
that was a Schwarzenegger movie.
Raw was Stallone.
Raw Deal.
I don't know.
I'm not familiar with that.
But that whole Stallone Schwarzenegger rivalry thing was.
Oh, and then they teamed up, and what were they in? They were like action heroes.
Expendables.
Yeah, I never saw that.
Yeah, Raw Deal was 1986.
Okay.
Well, and they even played up the Stallone thing in Last Action Hero, which bombed, but I have a soft spot for it.
Yeah? I don't know.
It was the one.
I don't think I ever saw that.
Last Action Hero was with the kid who gets a magic movie ticket. Like Stallone is basically in the movie. He's a fictional.
Yeah.
Like he's in action movies.
Yeah.
And this kid gets a magic ticket.
Yeah.
And gets sucked into one of
what
the movies.
Okay.
But then, like the villain from the movie, it gets a two-way thing.
Oh no!
So the villain from the movie escapes into the real
Exchange
world.
program, yeah.
Okay.
And then the kid and Schwarzenegger's character have to come out into the real world.
Okay.
But in the movie, there's he's got the angry chief of police, and there's like a cartoon cat on the police force.
Oh my god! I've never seen that.
It's fun.
You should try to build that into
it's fun.
this. To
but
MRT.
at one point, they go into a video store, and there's like a Terminator 2 cutout. But it's Stallone instead of Schwarzenegger.
That's not right.
But they played that up. There was no real rivalry between them.
There was at a certain point because they were competing for the same roles.
I guess so, but I think that they both realized that
seem to embrace
it benefited both of them.
Yeah.
And kept them in the limelight. And I think we watched that Stallone documentary.
Yeah, that was
on
interesting.
like Netflix or something.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of it, but I think he mentioned it in that where it was like, it helped us both out. It kept us in the limelight. It kept us in the media.
Yeah.
And it gave us both opportunities that maybe we wouldn't have had otherwise. So.
Now, this movie sort of had a long history. So the co-writer of this movie was a guy named Ronald Shusett. And he bought the rights to the short story in 1974.
Okay.
And was
I'm sorry. When was this story written? The Philip K. Dick? If you don't know, it's okay.
It was 1966.
Oh, okay. All right. Thanks.
It was published in the Magazine of Fantasy and Science Fiction.
Ooh.
So they originally bought the rights in 74, and Ronald Shusett and O'Bannon were developing the script. Mm-hmm. But they realized as they were developing it that 1974 technology wasn't necessarily where it needed to be for what they wanted to do.
Okay.
O'Bannon then went from that to start writing Alien.
Okay.
So it kind of sat in development hell for the next 16 years. There were 40 script drafts. 7 different directors were looked at. Multiple actors were actually cast as the lead. At one point, Patrick Swayze
that would have been
had
weird.
actually been cast.
Okay.
And what ended up happening is Dino De Laurentiis' studio originally had the rights. They went bankrupt. And then Schwarzenegger really wanted to play the lead. And so he basically lobbied to have Carlco Studios.
Do you own that?
No.
That's Carl with a C. Carl.
That's Carl.
Oh.
Purchased the rights to it with the promise that Schwarzenegger would get the lead.
Huh.
Wow.
I read somewhere that Richard Dreyfuss at one point was being looked at.
For the lead?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Hooper drives the boat.
That
That'd be weird.
I'll have to remember that while we're watching it.
Yeah. Patrick Swayze would have been interesting.
He probably would have done fine. You know?
Yeah. So
roadhouse his way through Mars.
So the original story we can remember for you wholesale, just to kind of give you a little synopsis.
Yes, please,
Obviously,
'cause I don't
spoilers if
remember.
you ever want to read this story. The lead character in the story is Douglas Quayle,
Dan
not
Quayle's
Quaid.
brother.
Not Quaid.
So they did change the last name.
Yeah, because Quaid sounds cooler.
But it's the setup is very, very similar,
Okay.
where he plays this normal office working guy with a menial job. He's got a wife, and he's obsessed with Mars. He wants to go to Mars. He wants to go to Mars. His wife's like, you're never going to go to Mars. Just stop it.
Stop this.
And so he ends up, there's a company called Rekall that he sees advertised that will create memories for you. So you can just tell them what you want to remember. They'll program the memories into your brain. They'll also give you physical evidence of the memories that they're planting. So when you go home, you'll have like photos of you there,
Wow.
or tchotchkes or souvenirs you brought home.
So, like, you went on a vacation,
Right.
but you didn't go.
But you didn't actually go.
Yeah.
But you think you went. And
Okay.
there's nothing saying you didn't.
Right.
So he decides that he wants to have memories of not only going to Mars, but he wants to be a secret agent
Wow.
for Interplan.
Okay.
And so they're like, okay, yeah, we can program that for you. So as they're programming this, things go horribly wrong, where Quayle wakes up mid-procedure, and he has legitimate memories of being to Mars and being a secret agent. So it turns out
His subconscious.
he really did, all
Yeah.
of that stuff really happened. So
Okay.
they start freaking out. He starts threatening them
Oh, no.
because he's a
secret agent.
He's a secret agent.
His skills come back.
And so they basically
nunchuck
are like, oh, just,
Sleeve.
reset him back to factory defaults and bring him home.
Oh, no.
And we'll refund him half his money and tell him that it didn't work.
Okay.
And that's what they do. So he goes home.
Yeah.
He's pissed because he thinks that it didn't work.
Yep.
And then two agents show up at his house because they're monitoring his brain. They've got like some kind of implant in his head that can
Monitor him.
Yeah.
him. And they're like, your cover's blown. Like, we need to kill you now.
Oh, no.
Because he not only was he a secret agent, he assassinated some political leader.
Oh, my God.
And then they basically wiped his memory of it and put him on Earth to live out a menial job.
Yeah, it's like witness protection.
Yeah.
And so he basically says, well, don't kill me. What if you try to figure out what my biggest desire is, what my number one thing that I would want to remember, and plant that in my head. Because if that's my subconscious thing that I've always wanted, I won't question it. And so they sit him down with a psychologist
Okay.
to try to figure out what is his number one desire in this
To
world.
be a secret agent on Mars.
And so they discover that he had this childhood desire that aliens came down to Earth and threatened to destroy the Earth. But he befriended them.
Okay.
And so they basically said, okay, we're cool with you. As long as you're still here, we'll leave Earth alone. Here's a token, a peace offering. And you've saved your planet.
Okay.
And so he said, and so the psychologist is like, this is weird, but this is what we've come up with in my meeting with him. He wants to have a memory that he saved the world by befriending the aliens that were coming down to destroy it. And they're like, okay, we'll implant that memory in your brain.
Oh, my God. So
And
many memories.
in the middle of that procedure, something goes horribly wrong. And you come to find out that really happened to him too.
Oh, my God.
And now they can't kill him because if they kill him, the Earth
aliens.
the aliens will come back and destroy the Earth.
Wow.
And that's not the end of the
What's
story.
the moral of
That's
the
how the story ends.
What is the story
Sometimes
telling
it's
us?
not a moral, especially
I know,
in,
I just-
It's
short
almost
story
it almost
sci-fi.
feels like a Twilight Zone episode
Yeah.
or like a Tales from the
Definitely.
Crypt type of thing, where So that's the story
Okay. All right.
that it's based on.
I don't know if you were going to ask this or not, stop me if you were, but would you ever do this?
That's where I was going next.
Sorry.
So I've got 2 questions for you based on this movie.
Yeah.
The first question is, now I don't know, I know they've been talking about colonizing Mars and all of that. I don't know if that's going to happen in our lifetime or not. Who the heck knows? If it did happen in our lifetime, would you travel to Mars? Like, would you be interested in traveling to Mars?
Well, hang on. So,
I mean, obviously there's logistics in terms of how long the journey would take and all of that stuff.
well, it really depends. So, but there's the ability to get back. Are we saying that
It's
that's
not a one-way trip.
It's not a one-way trip.
because if we left right now, it would be a one-way trip. Like, there's no way to get back.
Right.
But if
technology
they
were at the
colonized
point-
it, of course I'd go. I absolutely would want to go to Mars. So what was it take like 3 months to get there at the current, speed of space travel, something like that? 3 months, 5 months.
That's it?
Yeah. What do you mean that's it? No, it is.
I thought it was more than that.
No, Mars is close.
140 million miles.
That's so close.
Top of the car.
Well, it is.
Depending how fast you're going.
Interplanetary travel, yeah.
No, I don't.
You wouldn't be
You wouldn't
interested
go
in
see
seeing
another planet?
I need more information.
Well, you're not signing up now.
You're
just saying, like, would you
I'm
be
not
interested?
sure.
Would it
if
be
they
something
built
you'd
a
do?
resort on Mars for people to visit.
I don't know.
It'd be like
I don't know.
going to Iceland, except it's
No,
Mars.
But it's Mars. It's a totally different. I would need to have a lot more space travel in my life. Like, at face value, as someone who has never left the planet,
Sure.
to be like, let's go to Mars. I don't think I would be ready to do that.
What if it was the moon?
That's a closer. I might do that.
So it's the distance from
Yeah,
Earth?
yeah.
What about it?
It just seems really, really far. Because it is.
Yeah.
You'd have to take a lot of time out of work.
I
would work remote.
You're retired.
work remote.
I'd use Starlink. And I'd have Wi-Fi on Mars.
Well, yeah. I don't know. I'm going to put a pin in that. I'm not ready.
But the moon you would jump on more readily.
I would be more open to going to the moon. Yeah. But
I feel like the moon would be less interesting.
it's not interesting at all. But it's still the moon that you've never been on.
Exactly. Like leaving the planet.
Right. That's a big.
Leaving everything and everyone that is your life.
That's a big step.
That is known.
Because I love the Earth.
I think is amazing. Because that was part of diving for me, where you're going to places very few other people go, all things considered, and it's that spirit of exploration.
Yes.
For me.
You're an adventurer.
And you are. And even though if space travel was commoditized, it just became a normal everyday kind of thing that people do, having never done it, it would still be something that you probably get a lot out of in terms of, that's hard, the exploration for yourself, that whole sense of you truly are leaving Earth behind and
I'm not ready to do that.
Seeing another planet and existing there for a little while.
That's
that's why we travel here on Earth, right? To experience different cultures, different people, different places.
Yes, but it's still on Earth. Right. I think I would have some kind of existential crisis if I went to another planet.
Being able to get to, imagine going to Mars and looking through a telescope and seeing Earth.
A little tiny blue dot, like in space.
The pale blue dot.
I would need to mentally really prepare and be okay with that.
I think that's an amazing thing.
You view it differently.
Well, the people that have gone to space,
lens.
that puts life in perspective, how small
they
we really are
Yeah.
compared to the universe.
Yeah, because you can read about
problems.
things, you can look through a telescope and see certain things, but until you're putting your butt somewhere else,
It's like I'm not on the Earth.
Yeah,
I'm not with the rest of mankind.
Not even close.
Like that, I don't like that. I don't seek that out. But again, I would need more information.
Would you, in lieu of physical travel to Mars, go to an agency on Earth that would implant memories of a trip to Mars?
So let's talk about this.
Yeah.
If an institution like Rekall existed, where you could go and they could, however they do it, implant memories of something
Yep.
that you didn't
That you
do
didn't
yourself.
do. Yeah.
And I would think it would be something that you would never be able, because if it's something you could do yourself, wouldn't you just do it?
Unless you didn't have the time.
So would you? And if the answer is yes, can you think of what you would want memories of?
And it doesn't even have to be a place. It could be anything.
It could be anything.
Memories of anything. I think it would be, ethically, I do have kind of a problem with it because you didn't do that. You didn't
It's not
really,
earned.
you didn't earn it, right? You didn't go experience it.
It's false.
It is. But if I were going to do it, I think what I'd really, just off the top of my head, what comes to mind is I'd like to experience different places and times, like in history. That would be
That'd be like in
fascinating.
medieval
to me.
England.
Yeah. And just have memories of a day or an event or just how life was. I think that would be super cool. If that was possible, I might...
Like memories of being at Woodstock.
Anything. Any sort of historical from now to the dawn of time. Hey, imagine if you could be like, I want memories of the dinosaurs. I don't know how that would work, but that would be cool.
Matt?
I don't know. At first, I was all set to say I would never do something like that because it's false. It's not representative of, reality. You have delusions, basically, that you believe to be real.
That is what they are.
And supporting evidence like tchotchkes and whatnot to support that delusion. And it's probably a reasonable thing, so other people would believe you too. So that kind of tears the line between reality and whatever.
You're living a lie.
Whatever this is. You are living a lie. But if there was a way to have like some sort of flag raised on those memories where it's like, I want to have this experience or memories of this experience, but know that it wasn't real in some way. Kind of like what you were saying, where it's a way to live through something that is just not possible for you for real in your life. But you know it's not real. And you're not trying to trick yourself into believing it was real. Because I would never do like a vacation somewhere. That's something I would want to do for real. Even if I couldn't go, I'd rather not go than have false memories of it.
I agree.
But if there was some other, I don't know, thing
you couldn't do, like something from history
or whatever. There's all kinds of stuff you could dream up, I'm sure.
Like fly in a fighter jet. What about something like that?
Yeah,
I would want to do that for real.
I would want to do that.
Yeah, and
go
you
to
can.
Mars.
No,
What if you can't for now,
Like, there are experience companies where they'll put you in a Russian MiG somewhere.
Oh, as a passenger and fly around.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like, but that's a good example because that's something that you're probably not likely to do, but it is possible for you to do.
Right.
And if it's possible, had you been determined enough to, like, save the money or do whatever, that's something I would never want to have false memories of.
Although it's also risky, and you could mitigate the risk.
Yeah.
No, you could. Really?
I mean, you could, but that's part of the experience. That's part of why you go.
What about something like being an astronaut?
No,
because you've always talked about being
obsessed
I
said
space.
I'd go into space. Like, I would do that. I would go to Mars.
He's already gone.
I've never gone. I want to.
No, I meant you're.
Oh my! Yeah,
you've committed. You're gone. But Carl didn't answer either. Carl, would you go to Mars? Are you going to hang out here with me?
No, I'd hang out down here.
All right, good.
Like
you wouldn't want to go?
It depends on what amenities they have up there.
Amenities? I love it. Matt's
you should probably
let's
stay
go.
here.
Let's explore. I'm like, I don't know. This fills me with existential dread. Carl's like, but will they have shampoo?
Right?
I don't know.
Do the rooms have televisions?
Are the beds comfortable?
I don't know.
See, like, if they
Can
didn't
I recline fully?
If it meant not taking a shower for 3 months, I'd probably still go.
Of course you would.
On that, because it's
totally would.
It's a,
It's a once in a lifetime.
I was going to say once in a lifetime, but I'm hesitating because if you're able to do it, you could probably go again if you wanted to.
It's one of those things where it's like, I would love to visit Australia, but looking at the amount of time it would take where you're sitting in a plane and like traveling
now,
there.
See, I would go visit
that's
Australia.
Too long. So if I think Australia's too far away, Mars, like 3 months stuck in a spaceship with strangers.
You wouldn't want to see that. Like, to me, for whatever reason, Earth, like I want to visit a bunch of places before I die.
Like if they could put me in cryo sleep for the 3 month, like alien style, and then I go to sleep and then I wake up and I'm on Mars, then okay, maybe.
Yeah, but you're traveling through space. That's like, see,
there's nothing to see.
I agree.
That's like
after a while,
you're being in space. You can experience weightlessness. You can.
I feel like the novelty would wear off on that.
See, but you like.
What's the name of that show with the space cruise?
Yeah, I was just trying to think. Avenue 5.
Avenue 5. Do you ever watch that?
No.
You should.
But see,
it's only a couple.
You didn't
seasons.
enjoy being on a cruise at sea either.
Well, because when you get to the point where you're in the middle of the ocean and you look out there and there's just nothing.
That's the best part.
There's just water.
Yeah.
There's no land. There's no buildings.
That's
there's
right.
nothing. So, like, take that and multiply it by however much
Oh my God,
when you're in the middle of space.
Yep.
What is there? I was like, oh, there's more stars.
I mean, yeah, for 3 months.
For 3
it's
months,
true.
like I feel like it would be
that wonder is gonna immediately wear off because it's nothing. Carl's right.
Yeah, but you're on board with other people. You're not like in the Mercury capsule, jammed in there with 2 other people.
And I'm sure by the time space travel is to the point where there's tourism widespread, that they would make it more comfortable and there'd be more things. It'd be like a space cruise.
And it probably wouldn't take as long either if we had some better propulsion means or whatever. Like if there's the ability to travel to Mars and then travel back, that means that we have an established base on Mars with amenities and
that. What kind of amenities?
And some sort of better
that.
propulsion so that people would get back and forth. Let's say it took 1 month instead of 3
Do you
months.
have heated seats? Will there be massages?
I don't know.
What kind of dining
Is there a buffet?
options?
What's the Martian buffet look like? Is there bacon on Mars?
Different strokes for different folks.
Is it all you can eat?
And next question is the memory thing. Would you do that?
That one, I'm kind of in the middle because I can definitely appreciate the whole why would I like. And I would imagine I wouldn't know that I was telling lies, right? But
in theory, no.
Just the idea that I'm telling other people about all this stuff that I did.
You did not do this.
And I never did it.
Yeah.
Like, they wouldn't know the difference. I wouldn't know the difference. But there just seems something icky about that to me.
I agree.
So I definitely lean toward Rachel's idea in terms of, like, just give me memories of ancient Egypt.
Yeah.
Like the building of the pyramids or, like the stuff that I never could have
I
experienced.
just want to be a pharaoh for a day.
But
what
that's
was
more
that
like virtual reality, isn't it? That's like going through a simulation.
I guess so.
It's not quite the same.
No. But, and I would like to know that, like you said, that I wasn't there. I would like there to be some kind of asterisk or flag.
Well, it would be obvious if you had memories of ancient Egypt that you weren't there. But
People do, and they think that it's
they
some
have past lives
or whatever. I mean, people claim that they do anyway.
Be like, give me memories of past lives. It's real.
I don't know.
Now, this movie was remade in 2012 with Colin Farrell as the main character.
Strange.
Kate Beckinsale, Bryan Cranston's in the remake.
Oh, really?
But, yeah.
I never saw that. Did you see it?
I saw it once. I thought it was fine. I think it was a cinema movie.
I never saw it, no.
Okay.
So this movie is available streaming. I brought my personal copy of this, but it's on MGM Plus. It's on Paramount Plus, I believe. You can rent it.
Yeah. It's out there,
It's
right?
out there.
Yeah. It's out there. Go to Major Video.
For dinner,
Blockbuster.
we had delicious pulled pork on pretzel bread rolls.
Pretzel buns.
With coleslaw.
Yep. Cheddar
and
cheese.
fries.
It was good, right?
Delicious.
Now, full disclosure, there's like no dessert. The only thing I have for dessert are cinnamon graham crackers. Is that sad?
I'm going to take away all the nice things I said about dinner. Dinner was passable.
Cinnamon graham crackers for dessert. like from 5.
I already had dessert.
You did?
My dessert was the Porsche being delivered.
Oh
to
my
our
God,
driveway
yes.
After dinner.
We got a new used car.
Yeah,
It's beautiful.
it is. That's
You
all I'll
wanna-
say about that.
Okay.
No, because we gotta go. We gotta.
We
watch
gotta
this.
go.
we gotta wrap
we
this
gotta
up.
wrap this up. We gotta go to Mars.
We're going to go to Mars, and then we're going to come back and talk about our trip.
I'm not ready.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're going.
I don't want to go.
Gotta get our asses to Mars.
Okay.
And we have returned from our vacation on Mars.
We went there.
I have
we?
a T-shirt
We did.
that says "I went to Mars," and all I got is this lousy
The
T-shirt.
T-shirt.
So I had to have been there, right?
And the memories.
But were you there?
I don't know.
Were you there? Is this just a dream?
So let's talk about it. What did you guys think on your reviewing of Total Recall?
Me?
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. Like, I've seen this movie multiple times, and I remember the whole thing. So, like, there wasn't a part I forgot or anything. And yeah, I think this movie stands the test of time. It's a good sci-fi flick. I will say this was the first time I've seen it on like a Blu-ray with an OLED TV and blah blah blah.
This is the 4K.
Okay, it was. So
Yep.
I mean, because it looked like it was 4K, which part of me thinks that films like this, I want to watch on a VCR on a cathode ray tube
Yeah.
display.
Yeah.
You know, because that's how I originally experienced it, and that's kind of how. Like, I know they're filming it for projection in a theater, but for a film that does so well with its practical effects, the closer you look, I mean, you can tell. Like, you can see things that maybe take you out of it a little bit, but they're easy to overlook. It's kind of like horror when you're watching like 4K remastered horror films in the same
Right. You're not meant to
scenario.
see it in that level of detail.
Well,
it's
that-
supposed to be a little bit.
Well,
Like grimy, like some
blurry or-
horror
yeah.
movies. Like certain horror movies are meant to
Lo-fi.
be.
Yeah.
Right.
but not only are they meant to be that, they were working within the limitations of the technology at the time, so they knew that they could do this and it would look good.
Yeah.
Now you have everything's sharpened.
I can see the wires.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't think that this movie suffers that much
No,
from it. I
I
think the
don't.
practical effects are still great. I think they look fantastic for the time that the film came out, and they still look great now. It's a good little sci-fi story that leaves you questioning at the end about certain things. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I was glad we watched it again.
Yeah.
Rachel?
I liked it. I have only seen this movie one other time, and it was a long time ago. I'd say it's been like 20 years since I've seen it.
Yeah.
And so I really didn't remember much of anything, maybe the beginning, but I liked it. It was a fun like cusp of the 90s sci-fi movie. Mm-hmm. Arnold Schwarzenegger is not a good actor. It's totally fun that way. Like, he makes crazy noises when he's like getting out of the way of things.
I was going to say, if you're a fan of Arnold noises,
This is
you've got
chock-full.
all of them. You got
So many. There's a lot of like karate fighting,
a lot of chopping and
a lot of chopping,
kicking,
lot
roundhouse
of
kicks.
heads being depressurized, eyeballs popping out.
There's the triple-breasted horror of Omicron Percy.
Eccentrica Columbus. That was her name.
Was that her name?
That was her name in Hitchhiker's Guide.
Ah.
Little
But yeah,
people with machine
yeah.
guns.
There's
I mean,
a
there's
midget.
just-
Yep. Totally. There's Tony the mutant. There's a mutant guy, Quetzalcoatl. What's his name?
We'll talk about Quado.
He's like a baby, but an adult in somebody else's body.
We'll talk about Quado.
Kind of like Voldemort.
I want to talk about Quado.
Okay. So it was, I had a good time.
Well,
Not going to lie.
Yeah. Carl, how about you?
oh, this movie's great.
Yeah.
It's just a fun movie.
It is a fun movie.
It's not going to win any awards,
Doesn't need
but
to.
it's for an hour and 40-something minutes. It's a good time.
Yeah.
It's a good sci-fi movie.
It totally is. Plus, it's always fun. I always enjoy, especially in this time period, like the 80s and 90s, even the 70s a little bit. But what did filmmakers envision life in the future like? What was their vision? Because some things are pretty accurate. Like, they had a GPS in his head, and it was overhead mapping him kind of like you can do today.
Get video calls.
Video calls. They had like robot drivers. So, those things are fun.
And real now.
Yes. Well, that's what I mean. It's, some things mimic, but then you see advertisements and there's an ad for Fujifilm. Like, I guess they still have film cameras.
Maybe they
in 20
switched over and made digital cameras at the time.
I don't know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, all right.
I think it's plausible.
What I mean. It's just interesting.
Yeah. I mean, Kodak, well, they're not around anymore.
No.
They were for a long time. Anyway.
So just to give a high-level synopsis, the first, 20 minutes of this movie are very close to the actual story.
Yeah.
Where you've got Doug Quaid instead of Quayle.
Mm-hmm.
He's a construction worker, married for 8 years.
Maybe.
Dreaming of Mars. Every night he dreams of Mars. His wife's getting annoyed with him.
Mm-hmm.
She's trying to distract him. He decides to go to Rekall.
Yep.
Against the wishes of his wife and his friend at work, who are all trying to stop him from going. Just like in the story, he wants a Mars vacation. He wants to be a secret agent. He wants to marry or he wants to be with a woman.
He specifies the kind of woman that he wants to meet.
Yep, it's the woman that he's been dreaming about. Yeah. Something happens mid-procedure. He is woken up. He's yelling that they've broken his cover.
Right.
And they basically knock him out.
Yeah, they're like, shit, reset him and throw him in a cab.
The guy who runs Rekall, or the doctor that was there, said, you messed up the procedure. And the person said, we haven't even implanted it yet in him, so they know something's wrong. So they basically wipe his memory that he was ever there, and they put him in a cab and send him home. His coworker at work and his wife end up finding out that he went to Rekall, and this is where the conspiracy is revealed.
Yes.
Where he is not Doug Quaid. He is Hauser.
Yes.
Who was friends, and he worked with a guy named Cohagen. Now, Cohagen is basically the guy that runs a mining installation on Mars.
He's like the feudal overlord of Mars. He really is.
The Lord of Mars.
He is Lord of Mars.
So they are mining turbinium on Mars. And he basically controls the mining. He also controls the air. He runs Mars, basically.
Yeah.
And Hauser worked for him. And Hauser's still fuzzy. He knows that something's going on, but he doesn't have a memory of who he used to be. So he ends up getting escaping the men that are trying to kill him, and he runs into another man who says, hey, you told me if you ever go off the grid to give you this briefcase. Here's the briefcase. Inside the briefcase is a device to remove the tracker in Quaid's head, some money, some IDs, and a video from himself explaining the situation. Now, there are a couple of different twists here, because the initial explanation is Hauser used to work for Cohagen. He fell in love with a woman, and he knew too much. So Cohagen had his mind wiped and sent him to Earth.
Yep.
Now, the truth of this is, and he tells himself, you need to get to Mars and find the woman. Here's where you can find her. So the real truth that is revealed is that Hauser was basically sent by Cohagen to infiltrate this rebel group
on Mars
that this woman was a part of.
Yep.
They created Quaid.
They created Quaid.
As a mole.
Right.
Unbeknownst to Quaid.
Right.
Right.
So Quaid is really Hauser, and basically Hauser, the idea was Quaid would infiltrate the rebels, and then once the rebellion was quelled, they would revert him back to Hauser. And
except, just like in what you haven't seen yet, the show Severance, Quaid has his own thoughts and feelings and emotions about all of this. And he's like, I'm not going to go along with your plan. Like, so he ends up
It's similar.
doing his own thing.
It was,
to how Severance works.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah.
what it reminded me of, for whatever reason, Batman Begins. There's a quote in Batman Begins
Yeah.
where they say, it's not who you are underneath, but what you do that defines you.
Yep.
So even though underneath he's Hauser, Quaid...
He's not Hauser anymore,
No,
though.
he is Quaid. Quaid
Right.
loves this woman.
Right.
He's sympathetic to the rebels.
Yeah.
He doesn't like Cohagen.
Yep.
He doesn't want to go back to who he was.
And Quado
Right.
literally says, I mean, why do you want to remember you are what you do?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So Quado, let's talk about Quado for a
Talk
minute.
about Quado, head of the rebel
Sounds like a
leaders.
fruit.
So Quado,
Some fruit you might be allergic
they
to.
reference
Quado.
they reference Quado throughout the movie
Yes.
as the leader of the rebels. You don't know who Quado is. They don't show him on the news. They reference him.
Mysterious figure.
There's like graffiti with his name.
Right.
Yes.
They're like obey posters with Quado.
Quado.
So eventually, when Quaid hooks back up with the rebels, they're like, Quado wants to see you because Quado's psychic. And so the
Right.
thought is, if they want to kill, if Cohagen wants to kill Quaid, he's got to know something dangerous. We need to find out what it is. So they bring him to Quado, and what Quado is, as Rachel so eloquently described, is there's a man, and in the man's stomach
He's like a host.
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
this slimy, gooey man baby
Mashed up.
thing
Man, baby.
that talks
Like a man.
like a man.
Yep. With these little weird arms coming out.
The poor guy who Quado lives inside has never felt the touch of a human woman. I mean, no, like, what is this guy going to do with a Quado in his stomach?
How
I
did
mean,
Quado get there?
like, did Quado spring? Because there are mutants on Mars, and the explanation is, well, the air filtration system is shoddy, and they've been exposed to
All kinds of
all
stuff.
kinds of radiation or what have you. But it is very much like a Professor Quirrell thing in Harry Potter,
is.
except instead of the back of the head, it's like
Stomach.
literally emerging from this guy's
Quado's
stomach.
like Voldemort. Yeah.
I'm assuming that there's no Quado in the short story. No.
There's no Quado.
Like I said, the only mention there is a mention of aliens in the story in terms of
Right.
how he had the memory of when he was a kid.
Right. Yeah. So do we think Quado's an alien?
No. Quado's a mutant.
But
Quado
aliens,
grew-
Or is the host a mutant and is able to carry this
Yes. That's what I
essence
think.
of an alien that
Why does Quado have to be an alien?
because they do mention that a lot of the
I don't think
mutants
he has to be.
have psychic abilities.
Right.
There is a line about that in the
Yeah.
movie. So, but that's gotta suck. Like, I'm assuming the man came first, and that's good. Like his belly starts itching at first. And
Yes.
he's like, "Is that a hand?"
Yeah. And then
that's not
Quado
a
emerges.
mutation. That's not a mutation.
'Cause that's
an
its own
entirely
sentient
separate
being.
That's why it's kind of
It mutated into a separate
Is it
being.
like a twin, like a Siamese twin
resorbed
situation?
his twin, but not fully.
It's like a molar pregnancy.
Yeah.
I don't want to, whatever.
I think that's one of the open-ended things.
Yeah.
I mean, he could be alien, or the fact
He's
that
not an alien.
no, he's
Quado's
probably
not
he's
an
probably not.
No.
He's just
He's odd.
for some reason. Like, why couldn't
He's
it just be the host guy?
He's mystical. It's mystical.
yeah, but
It's like if Yoda was in Luke Skywalker's
Yeah.
belly.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
But there was a conscious decision in this film to do that.
Well,
to
because
have
somebody went, it'd be really fucked up.
There was
if
a
the
man baby
alien
living in
was
this
the-"
dude's
yeah,
stomach.
totally.
I mean, that might have been
Yes.
part of it, but that's not why. Like, there's a
Okay.
reason why they did it that way. Why he couldn't talk to that guy. I don't know.
I think.
I think it plays off well.
You give it you're giving this a lot of credit.
Forget about ever sleeping
I
on your
don't-
stomach.
A lot of
Quado would be like, "Rrr."
Can't breathe, buddy.
I mean, Quado was the key to the whole thing. He was the one who was able to
Yeah.
pull the memories from Quaid's brain.
So in the memory,
That's right.
the memory that he does pull from Quaid's brain is that Cohagen and his group discovered some sort of alien
device.
I'm not even going to say it's an artifact. It's a giant device.
It's a reactor.
Yeah.
They say it's a reactor.
In the middle of Mars,
Yep.
and they don't know what it does. Or maybe they did know what it did.
He knows what it does.
Because he didn't. What ends up happening is that device essentially terraforms Mars.
Right.
And that Cohagen would lose his control at that point because it wouldn't even matter that he controls
It would be free
the
air.
It'd be free air.
All over.
Yeah,
and he also said
the core of Mars is all
A
ice.
glacier.
And he also said it would destroy all the turbinium.
And the reactor...
That's what he's bummed out about. He doesn't want that.
The reactor would slowly melt the ice, and that's going to release oxygen and create an atmosphere on Mars. But they're afraid that it's going to cause a chain reaction and cause the whole planet to blow up, basically.
There was that fear.
Yeah.
But it was kind of like, at that point, he was killing everybody anyway, the bad guy. So it was like, let's just
he was
do
only
it.
killing people in that sector. He was
I know, but
punishing them. And
people
he
were
says-
tired of living like that.
Right, but he says earlier on in the film, he's like, I love my job. You know, my job is to, basically, I can do whatever I want as long as things stay the way they are.
Right.
Essentially.
That's right.
So he
needs the status
He didn't
quo.
care what that reactor did. He wanted to demonize it, make it this dangerous alien artifact that's going to kill
everybody.
everyone. So he's able to, stay in control of the entire
Continue
planet.
his stranglehold of Mars.
Yeah.
And all the Martians.
I think my favorite moment in this movie, there's a scene where Quaid's on Mars.
Mm-hmm.
He's in a hotel room, and there's a knock at the door, and it's the guy that runs Rekall.
Yep.
He's in all the commercials.
Yep.
And he basically tells Quaid, you're not really on Mars. You're still in Rekall.
Yeah.
You're having a psychotic episode. They've implanted me into your memory to try to get you out of it.
And he's deadly serious, and it sounds super plausible, and you as the viewer are like, oh my God, is that
And Quaid
true?
buys it.
Yeah.
It seems like, and then he brings
they
his
bring
wife,
the wife in.
played by Sharon Stone,
Yep.
and she's like, Doug, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
You need to come home.
Yeah.
And it was I like that scene. That scene I think is really, really cool.
Well, I think it also helps to, and yeah, he ends up having this bead of sweat drip down, which
Yep.
betrays him.
Yeah.
Quaid goes from there. But I think it helps to lend to maybe questioning the end of the film, where it's still not clear if it really happened.
Well, because everything he wanted in his vacation, he got.
That's right.
Yeah.
Like they said everything at the beginning of the film when they were preparing him for his trip.
And the doctor even brings it up, like, hey, the woman, you said you wanted a brunette that was both sleazy and demure.
Yeah.
She's right there.
Yep. Yep.
And they do leave it open-ended at the end, where he even says, like, how do I know this isn't a dream?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you don't know.
Which is good.
Or we're just watching what he experienced. Like the movie could have ended with him coming out of that chair at Rekall, and it would still be
But you don't know.
a good film, but leaving
Yeah.
it open-ended like
Open-ended
that. Whether
is
they
better.
intended it or not.
Oh, I think they intended it.
I do
Yeah.
too. I do too. But
Based on the last line that he says.
yeah.
Well, and it ends with, like, a weird, like, it's not just a simple fade out. There's almost like a color spectrum. Like,
Yeah.
there's
Like a dreamlike
flashing
quality to it.
colors,
Yep.
which kind of reminiscent of the machine they put him in that
Yep.
have all the lights around
Definitely.
their heads.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't know, but
You're left to speculate.
which I like.
Yeah, I do
That's
too.
good for a sci-fi
It's good.
film.
This was a
They don't
good.
try to spell it out.
This is a good little movie.
Certain scenes are always in my brain, like the 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
Because I remember this trailer for this had that, get ready for a surprise, and
Yeah.
the head blows up.
Yeah.
And the mask coming apart in the sections, like the.
Or the X-ray machine that shows the
Yeah.
skeletons.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like
I thought that was the coolest thing when I was younger.
100%. This movie for a kid is awesome.
Yeah.
Not
does
just
have a
because
lot
of the
of
3
cool-
boobs.
That's featured prominently. They really.
Numerous times.
Numerous
It's like, hey,
times.
remember these?
The guy who made those was really proud of them. He's like, we gotta put this on camera again. Let's show it again.
Oh, I mean, she for a mutant, she lucked out. She drew
I know she could
didn't
have
draw
like,
the
had
short straw.
the
for-
melted face, or
Or the
yeah,
or the weird like 2-finger arm.
right.
thing.
I know, or
No,
the stomach,
psychic baby.
The psychic
weird
baby in
thing.
the
baby
stomach.
stomach. Nope, three boobs.
Just an extra boob.
Like,
Yeah.
That wasn't weird. It was just like just an extra one.
Just an extra one.
Good luck finding a bra. I mean, you're gonna have to get them custom made.
Well, I mean,
Or just go
there's a whole
braless.
other industry, and yeah, she's in the right industry.
I mean,
for
she's
not
a
needing bra.
prostitute, so
Probably.
she probably doesn't want a bra.
Yeah.
Yeah, Carl, what would you rate this movie?
You know what? I'm giving it 4 streams.
Whoa!
It's a fun movie.
4.
It's not the like I said, it's not going to win any Oscars, but it's a good time.
Fun. Yeah, I'm gonna give it 3.5 out of 5 turbinium mines. This is good.
And
I really liked it.
I will say there was definitely a long journey and a conspiracy.
Oh, you nailed
Yes,
it. You
for
got
sure.
it. No question.
For sure.
Hands down. You completed the assignment.
Yeah.
Nice
He
job.
looked like he traveled to Mars on a ship with amenities.
I think that ship had excellent amenities.
I mean, there was a Hilton on Mars.
There was.
There was.
There were amenities.
Yep.
There was also a lot of shooting and crime and prostitution and
It's like going
drugs.
to certain other places on
That's
Earth.
true. It's true. Other urban areas.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep.
So no, it was good.
Excellent.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Well, I think we got to push the button. I think it's my turn.
Which button?
We need to pick a new theme,
the AI
and you
the
need
AI
to you need
button.
to spin your shake up.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit. All right. Well, if you're pushing the button, you
I'm going to push it now.
push the button.
Oh wait,
But,
I don't know that my mom would like this. She might.
oh, my mom would like this.
Would your mom like this, Matt?
Maybe. My mom might have seen it.
Yeah, I bet our mom saw it.
Yeah. My mom probably took me to see this in the theater.
I don't know that she
Probably.
would care
I would have been
watching
12.
it again.
No, I think my mom would like this movie. She likes these movies.
But maybe she would. I
I
don't know.
like these movies too.
Yeah.
Sci-fi action.
All right. Okay, I'm going to push the button now.
All right, let's see what our new theme is.
Okay, go. The machine has spoken. Our next theme is One Last Chance. Movies where characters are given a final opportunity to change their fate, make amends, or redeem themselves. One last chance. That sounds
okay.
cool. Okay.
Now, Matt,
Jeez.
you need to spin the wheel for your shake up.
Let's see. Go. Must be a horror movie.
A horror movie of one last chance.
Now we're talking.
Movies where characters are given a final opportunity to change their fate.
I mean, that's any horror movie that has a final girl, right?
Don't go in there.
yeah,
It's true.
Make amends or redeem themselves.
Oh, maybe you can find something extra special. That's going to be a tough one, I think.
Yeah, I do too. But I don't know. I'll have to dive into the vault and see what I can find.
Okay. Oh, like Scrooge McDuck.
How did he
Scrooge McDuck would have like concussions and broken
He would've broke his
bones.
neck
Right? You
the
can't
first dive.
You
No.
can't swim through coins.
No.
I don't care what anyone says.
Just be crushed or die.
Right. Or just get stuck. It's like, here I am.
I'd like
He
to.
dives in.
Yeah.
And
He'd break
swims.
his neck.
No.
There's like waves of money. Coins,
Yeah.
even.
I
But
can't
it smells
explain it.
like
That's cartoon
metal.
logic for you.
I know.
All right, well,
Okay, so one last chance.
Horror movie.
All right.
you're on
Okay.
the clock, my friend.
Oh, boy.
Always.
All right, well, another successful theme, everybody. Nice work.
Yeah, that was a great journey we went on.
It was.
It was long, but it was worth it.
It was.
I feel enriched.
So thank you, everybody, as always,
Yeah.
for listening. We appreciate it.
Oh my God! Not to belabor this, but Jared, your fan mail is peak. It's fire.
Jared sent us some fan mail about Nope. It's far too long to read. But,
Yeah,
It is great though. Really enjoyed it.
But he is also a fan of Nope.
Keep it coming.
So he enjoyed the rewatch.
Yeah. Excellent. All right. Okay. I digress. Go ahead.
But, all right, thank you, everybody.
Yes.
And then please tune in next week for another installment of the Movie Roulette Tuesday podcast. We'll be here.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah.
You betcha.
Right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.